Hiya, Hinsters. I hope you're keeping safe and well. And if you're new, welcome too. So, we are about to leave the mystical white fairy sort of nymph in the forest, nymph in the meadows season of Taurus season, the feminine shadow season of Taurus, the earth fixed, stuck in the rut, stuck in the mud season, the Venusian, desirous, stubborn, passionately stubborn season of Taurus, into the silver spring season that is Gemini season. So for Gemini season 2022, it's a season, I think, for course correction, dispelling of the lies, and in a comical way as well. You know, Gemini, I think, is the only sign that really brings both the light and the shadow, and in an almost everyday sort of way. And you know, you often find comedians, actual stand-up comedians who have a lot of Gemini energy, who have a lot of the Gemini Cancer border energy. The air and the water, the double-bodied mercurial and the lunar cardinal. And it's often said that comedians do what they do. They've mastered their art due to, in part, dealing with trauma, depression. And it's such an interesting way. But even if it's not a stand-up comedian, a celebrity, often with normal, ordinary Gemini heavy people, you get the dark humor, the ability to make light of pretty shitty situations. That's a very Gemini skill. So yes, a dispelling of the lies, sometimes in very serious ways, that can come through in Gemini season. And just a more vocal calling out of other people's bullshit, one's own bullshit as well. That's very good with Gemini. Being able to see where you yourself are a bit of an ass, a bit of a cunt, that can happen as well. And it's all light, it's all comical. And with a special home-hitting Mercury retrograde as well during Gemini season of 2022, and a Saturn retrograde, which is joining the current Pluto retrograde. What we're going to see in May, June is this theme of knowing what we did, and knowing what we're doing, and knowing what we're going to do. And the water tiger here, this water shark even takes a quick detour for some people. And for others, Gemini season marks the first time that this tiger shark really strikes or reveals itself or is about to leap, because there is still much room here for reflection and a weird, haphazard Gemini flitting sort of hesitation. The mercurial themes really coming through much more strongly in this season. And it is a season primed with potential to just rush out and say it, sort of Knight of Swords energy, if you're familiar with the tarot, like an air horse, a silver horse. Yet the High Priestess, major arcana, deep lunar sort of shit, suddenly comes through as well, as sitting at the heart of it all and stirring up the water tiger's instinct to crouch still, to wait amidst the buzz of Gemini season. And I do suppose for some of us it will feel a bit irritating, like trying to focus the ears on something, but there's a background static. And a lot of us will also get very masculine and expressive about how we've been kidding ourselves in some sense. And also, more seriously, more darkly for some people, because that's Gemini again, flipping it. We sort of killed our spirit, and we're reflecting now, talking about now, thinking about now how we killed our spirit for such a long time or for a certain period, or we overly postponed our wishes for something or for someone that still is not blossoming how we imagined. And Gemini season is that season where you just say, you know what, frig it, and you shake it up in some sense, or you start to talk about it more outwardly. The energy starts to get more sort of light season type energy. And as I film right now, Neptune and Mars are conjunct in Pisces, so perfect energies for feeling that kind of thing stir inside you, that mix for some people of anger and despair at something falling through, or some fantasy balloon popped that can often start to come through as we approach retrograde season, the summer season. And Gemini season then simply brings it out into a definition. It simply has us say the words again, to verbalize, vocalize. And we can often be blurting out that we cannot go on believing something contrary or poisonous even to our truth, whatever that might be. It can be a good time for couples to sit down and to have it out, or just any relationships to have this kind of conversation, the twins, a face-to-face of some sort. And for others, there's always this surfacing confirmation of a third party, a lover, a secret affair. But again, we kind of knew what was happening. But this is Three of Cups stuff. We kind of knew about the Judas or the traitor energy. But again, we've just come out of the dredges of the ox year, where we were more than happy to kind of overlook the red flags, right? And I think for many people, the remedy to push ourselves out of these cutting air season swords, truth blurting saws, it is to throw ourselves into hobbies, actually. Childlike Gemini, very hyperactive type things, but probably not new hobbies, really. With the retrograde energy, it's probably like going back to things that mentally stimulated, especially, or that got us more physically, literally active as well. It's like going back to those things that piqued our interest as kids or young adults or whatever, or maybe just a connection to the curious child or children within us, in order to block out those burdensome things we've been shouldering and kind of bringing into the tiger year that we really need to shake off. And a Mercury retrograde in Gemini will let you get yourself out of trouble. Mercury is home here in its own temple. And so for some, there's this golden opportunity to backtrack or to rewind in some way. And maybe for some people, it will be truly breathtakingly important and monumental. And for others, it'll just be a bit more mundane and pedestrian, like Gemini can be, like just getting out and about more, just being a bit more chitty-chatty, just, taking that course or learning that skill that'll just help you a bit more and be a bit more common sense. That's very Gemini as well. And for some, both this tiger year and the first mutable or double-bodied season, that is Gemini season, this will allow us to have like a breakout like never before, which brings back together a split whole which finally, I think, pries some of us out of like deep rooted ruts. And I am thinking now of like a forest of our spiritual world and the way we go through seasons of felling, cutting down the trees of our spiritual experience or our spiritual memory, and we leave the ground or that space barren and futile. And we can do this for ages, but at some point, the very nature of our spirit erupts and turns against us, and it forces us to change and to stop building our life or our spiritual experience around someone else or something else. And that's what Gemini season can do as well. It can bring this abrupt, the spiritual car accident. That's what it can do. It can bring the spiritually random thing, almost like Uranus, this thing that gets us thinking or gets us resolving as well. And maybe Gemini season won't, for some, be so dramatically disruptive. Again, it can just be mundane. But I'm a Cancer rising, and Cancer risings, every Gemini season, experience more 12th house themes. But yeah, maybe for everyone else, it's more of a classical Gemini season type thing, just a shake-up. It's like ants in your pants or bees or wasps, flies bothering you when you're having your cute little picnic. It's coming out of the Venusian side of spiritual spring and entering the Mercurial side of spring, which is much more active, but also quite irritating for some, or sometimes it's bugging you to like do something or to say something or to make a decision. And retrograde or not, a Mercurial season like Gemini season always tickles and toys with us, but especially Gemini season, and it makes things way more fast-paced again and way more suddenly, and it makes things way more multidimensional. And for the first time in the astro year, we often start to actually talk and think about the things that we actioned and the things that we activated back in Aries season. And for some people that involved like finally realizing, oh yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I got myself out of that, didn't I? I actually escaped that thing. So it can be very positive as well, these realizations of, wow, that was the right decision to make. That was the right jump. And it's good to see where you have Aries in your chart and to see how Gemini season provides a shakeup of the themes that were being addressed or highlighted by the sun during that time. And I want to say also that in Gemini season, there's no need to be proud here or ashamed of foolish things done or things agreed upon too early. Gemini season provides that gear shift, that lane shift or lane switch, and we can spiritually come to our senses very often during this season. And Gemini is the conceit as well. It's the dark humorist. It is there's a weird thing about Gemini season that can, through blunt but intelligent conversation or dialogue or discourse or writing, can have things returned to a former childlike, inspiring, or springly nature. And the shadow work of Taurus season can kind of bear fruit in Gemini season. And during this season, then, we can kind of not mind being rejected here or there. We can see where we were also to blame and where we went wrong. There's less of the stubbornness and more flexibility. There's more maneuvering in Gemini season, and we see the complexity of situations. And many of us can actually in this season develop a kind of maturity, which is perfect and sensible for the following cardinal Cancer season, which will most certainly forcefully wash away any remaining hollow fancies and fake friends and all the rest of the stuff that we might still be clinging to by then. But ultimately, to end this video, this stream, I think Gemini season is like knowing when it's time to trim your nose hair, or like when to take that hay fever pill, to just make the little minor decision, minor cuts. Um, Mercury deals with circuits and quick journeys and short movements and quick, snappy things. And it's just like knowing when it's time to do those things and to no longer let that itch or that cough or that buildup of residue to persist. And also to allow yourself to necessarily spring away from that which deep down we know to not be our path. And in this springing way, like the Knight of Swords, we get reunited with that child or that friend within. So have a lovely Monday, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Love you.